Welcome back. We're talking about risky business in Africa, and we're going to focus in now specifically on freight, which is a massive problem throughout the continent. Stewart Somerville is the Managing Director of Geotab. He joins us in the studio. Stewart, thanks very much for your time. What do you guys actually do first before we start, so I understand?
Jeremy, we're a fleet management company.
Yep.
We manage fleets of vehicles remotely. We have devices that are fitted to vehicles. That device takes a position, sends it back to us in our software suite, and we help our clients reduce cost and increase efficiencies by managing that data.
So when you say vehicles, it could be ships, it could be
literally anything.
Literally anything.
Yeah.
Let's concentrate on shipping first.
Okay.
We have all these reports about the east coast of Africa becoming almost a war zone with pirates. Yeah. How bad is it? Are there any numbers that have come out on this?
In terms of the numbers, Jeremy, the one part of risk is the cost of it. The cost is massive. I think with the installation of a simple device on the ship, the minute the captain or others on the ship see something approaching, they can push panic buttons, and the immediacy of that technology allows people to react to it literally within a couple of seconds of the event starting.
So nobody's assessed how much, I mean, what the costs
I think the assessment process is still underway.
It's still underway.
But the money is substantial.
How far up the coastline and how far down the coastline does this exist? And how far they go out? Because I heard the other day about somebody who, a yacht that was boarded just off the Seychelles.
Yeah. I think that they, in essence, they're mobile, they are opportunistic, and they'll strike where they see a target.
The cost of sending freight up the east coast of Africa, that must have risen.
Yes, substantially. The risk, especially.
So where are the major suppliers now taking their vessels?
I think that a lot is reverted to land, and there's other routes around through further out to sea. Jeremy, it's an issue that governments have become involved in. You know, we're almost back to the gunboat stage of early history. It is a big issue. It's not an issue that's going to go away quickly. And I think that using technology to get to grips with it, that you can respond quickly, that you can have centralized areas along the coast where governments can be involved and can be part of that response is important.
Let's move on to the freight forwarding side of it, the vehicles. We see a huge amount of hijackings in South Africa.
Yes.
They also occur on the main lines, the logistics lines running up through Zambia, yes, Zimbabwe, and all the rest of it. Is it the same sort of volumes? You say people are reverting to land-based, yes, transport. Yes. Are we seeing a curve coming in there on the hijackings?
There has been a slight increase. I think that on the vehicle side of things, the advent of hijacking 15 odd years ago, when it started, the technology was developed. The technology since then has, from a sophistication perspective, has just taken off remarkably. So in essence, it was held back somewhat. There are spikes every now and again, but the technology, Jeremy, is in real time. You know, we use the GSM network on GPRS, on the data, so we can watch a vehicle live. If there's a sensitive load, we actually sit in a control room and we watch that vehicle as it travels. Anything that happens untoward, we can electronically set up the vehicle. Let me give you a simple example. We have a closed vehicle. It's got cargo doors at the back. So part of our system would be to monitor those cargo doors. We zone the depots, we zone the client's customers, for example. You're doing a delivery, you're at a hypermarket, the doors open, great. We record the visit, we record that the doors are open. But that's it. However, the vehicle's traveling on the side of the N2, it stops, the cargo doors open. I want to know about it now. I want to know immediately. Why are the cargo doors open on the side of the M2? And that can be done electronically, literally within seconds of the event happening. That allows management to react to it. It allows a recovery crew to react to it. So technology has grown and has become sophisticated enough that we're not only looking after the vehicle, we're looking after the vehicle, we're looking after the people within the vehicle, we're also looking after the goods in the back, and the cargo.
Because there are, I suppose, any cargo that any hijacker can get their hands onto is a bonus because he's got it for nothing. But there are specific types of cargo that I believe are really, really sought after. Yes. One of them being cigarettes, yes, because it's cash.
Yes, and the value, it's really, really simple to sell. And the value of a 12-metre container of cigarettes is astronomical. So if you can get one, it's, yeah, it's huge money.
What are the other really dangerous ones?
Electronics, anything that's got street cred, clothing, that type of thing, where it's something that's really, really simple to sell. Sometimes when there's serial numbers, that helps because it becomes more difficult to sell the goods afterwards. But even foodstuff, literally anything, Jeremy. You mentioned earlier tires. Tires is something else, you know. You can sell tires at the flick of a wrist. It's really that simple. And if you can get your hands on cargo and you can then easily convert that into cash, that's a viable business. And that's why the real time in terms of managing the fleet of vehicles, that's why it becomes more and more important. You know, if you don't measure something, you can't manage it. And there's other risk as well. In terms of theft, smaller company moving up into Africa loses one container of cargo. He might have a service level agreement in place with a retailer in Zambia, for example. All of a sudden, he can't manage he cannot meet what he's committed to that retailer. So there could be further liability to it. In terms of running a fleet of vehicles, to give you a silly little example, a 3-ton vehicle, you're looking in South Africa, you're looking at an average of about 12 Rand 50 to 13 Rand per kilometre driven. That's the cost of the vehicle, the running costs, and the staffing cost to staff that vehicle. You save yourself 10 kilometres a day, it's 130 Rand a day. Save yourself 20 kilometres a day, it's 260 Rand a day. And the way you do that is by building a database of what your vehicles in your particular business do, because every business is different. Once you've built that database, start to mine that data and start working out exactly how much does it cost Jeremy to deliver a tyre to a particular customer. Once you've got that, you can start to manage that. You can start to manage your drivers. We have the technology today using accelerometers that are built into the hardware where we can measure harsh braking, we can measure harsh acceleration, we can even measure dangerous lane changing. The result of that is we build ourselves what we call a driver scorecard. We say, right, here's your drivers, 1 to 20, here's the guys that are doing very well, here are the guys that are not doing so well. Start to mentor those guys, start to train them, start to help them become better drivers. You lower your risk, you lower your liability in terms of accidents and the like, but you also, your staff work in a safer environment.
Okay, now there were a few pointers that have come out in this conversation. One of them is risk, and the other one is managing the risk. There are things like the countries that you go into, the cargo that you're carrying, the type of vehicle you're in. How does this all affect insurance?
In terms of the insurance, Jeremy, it's my understanding that it's mostly done by demographic. They take a view in terms of the cargo, the areas through which that cargo will be travelling and the value of the cargo, and they then take a viewpoint with regards to that. When you have a device that allows you to watch that vehicle in a live environment if you have to, that surely has to reduce the risk to the insurer, and that certainly has to be reflected surely in the premium.
If there was any one country that you guys are aware of which has the highest risk profile in Africa, what would that be from a freight point of view?
From a freight perspective,
yeah.
Jeremy, unfortunately we're quite close to the top. Quite risky. A lot of routes have opened from Zambia through to Zanzibar because they don't like sending stuff down through the Republic. Yeah, there's a number of areas that carry different threats. The DRC was a no-go 3 or 4 years ago. It's beginning to get a little bit better. But there's a corridor opening up literally from the DRC through Zambia across to Zanzibar that's becoming more and more popular because of the risk of coming south.
And within South Africa?
There are hotspots. There are acknowledged areas where there are danger. Also in terms of moving large freight and Pantechnicons where you've got maybe 15 tons worth of goods. Remote areas where there's hilly roads, etc., where the vehicle can't move quickly. While the vehicle's travelling, they can have stuff taken out of the back on occasion.
While the vehicle's travelling.
While the vehicle's travelling, it happens.
Okay, I can just say one thing. I'm very glad I'm not in the freight forwarding business. I can tell you that much.